Hello, we're live with a Beyonce fan. Ma'am, how do you feel about not having a new Beyonce album yet?
I'm really pissed about it.
Well, ma'am, I'm sure she's under a lot of
This is how I feel about it.
Well, there you have it, folks. Beyonce, damn a new calendar. We need new music now.
I want to end this with us talking about the preachers of LA.
Well, let me just say this before we talk about that.
Oh.
Today, I read this disturbing news on ABC.com. I was at work, and it made me so sad. This 96-year-old woman
I think I heard about that. I seen your tweet.
was sexually assaulted, I think this week, or maybe yesterday, it was recently. She was sexually assaulted in her home. She was going out to get her paper, and a guy made his way in her house while she was out getting her paper. 96-year-old. Mind you, there's a lot of people who are in their 90s and 80s who are independent, whatever the case may be. She went back in her house, and there was a guy in her house. He made her, forced her to go upstairs, and he sexually assaulted her, and then he stole some of her things from her home. That was very sad. But what topped it all off is that I think a week or two before this happening, her granddaughter had passed away. But not only that, the day that this all happened was the day of one of her son's funeral.
Wait,
Yes.
so both people died.
Her granddaughter passed away a few weeks ago.
Okay.
But the day that she was sexually assaulted, that morning, was one of her son's funeral. So later on that day, she was going to go attend his funeral, and she gets sexually assaulted by a fucking pervert. People like that, when they catch him, I don't understand. I just don't understand. Oh, yeah, this is another story. I don't understand. This woman worked at a daycare. This was on ABC.com too. In Philly, ABC, local news. This woman worked in this daycare. She was dating this guy who is a sexual predator.
And she knew it?
Clearly she knew it. She's dating him. So this guy, once they are released from jail or in the halfway house, they still have like social workers come to visit them to make sure they don't have anything in their homes that involves like a child. Like no kiddie magazines or kiddie porn or things that you can get your rocks off with the child. Well, the social workers made their visit to this guy's house and found a laptop in his house that was not registered to him. So they're like, I guess he probably said, well, this is my laptop. And they're like, well, this isn't on any of the things that's registered to you. So now we have to check this laptop to see that you're not watching kid porn. Don't you know they get on the laptop and find videos of the woman, his girlfriend, molesting 2 kids at the daycare that she worked at?
Why? Wait.
Why
was she working?
Because nobody knew that she was molesting kids. And mind you, January of this year, she had just got her license of working, I guess, childcare renewed. And this bitch is at a daycare molesting 2 kids and then videotaping it. And then I guess her and her boyfriend, that's probably why he didn't have the shit on his computer. He had it on hers because she's not a sexual offender. She recording it and putting it on her laptop, and they both at home getting their rocks off of her molesting 2 kids. This is why I say people like them should be put in jail forever. But no, they want to put these people in jail for what, a year or 2 or 3 years, put them on probation, let them go free. Oh no, they served their time. No, they did not. They molested a child. There is not enough time in the world that you can serve when you molest a child. They should be in jail forever. You don't do that to a child. And then kids at a daycare who can't even defend themselves. They can't even defend themselves. Just like that guy who molested that 96-year-old woman. I don't know how old the kids were because they didn't tell you how old they were, but they definitely notified the parents, and the daycare was cooperating with the police. But I think that every parent, because they said that they notified the 2 kids' parents who was molested, but I hope that they notified all the parents in that daycare. Because even though my child wasn't molested, I want to know what the fuck is going on. Right, I want to know what's going on.
That is sick and sad.
Let's see if I pull up for you.
They're going to fuck her up, too.
Oh, yeah, they need to fuck her up. First of all, you're dating somebody who's a sexual predator. I guess when you are like that, then it's not nasty to you. Mind you, as I'm reading the story, I'm thinking it's going to say she was sexually assaulting, like, kids in the school, like, that she worked at, whatever. Which don't make it any better. But kids in a fucking daycare? Hold on. Because, this is your favorite news thing.
Why ain't your Wi-Fi on? I know I put the code in.
Because I probably turned it off when I was at work. And when you turn it off, it don't really come back on until you go back to set it back on, because I had turned it off. I'm sorry, y'all, but this is really just
Is Elizabeth Warren a Republican?
Who is Elizabeth Warren?
I don't know. They're talking about Elizabeth Warren for president in 2016.
I don't know who she is. I can't find the story.
I'm sorry. I'll have a link inside the more info box if y'all wanna read the story.
It's disgusting.
She's a white woman?
Yes, big fat white ugly lady. I mean, not that it matters that she's white, but she's big. If she is white, that she's doing it. But she's big, fat, and perverted and nasty.
I think I.
And it don't matter if she's white, black, green, yellow, or blue. Her ass needs to go to fuck to jail.
The boyfriend need to go to jail too.
They all need to go to jail. Everybody needs to go to jail, even the neighbors.
What the neighbors got to go to jail?
They just there. Oh, you want to be sitting next to somebody? You go to jail.
But I thought they let everybody know that it's a sex offender in the neighborhood.
Let me tell you something. I went on this, because I'm very newsy. I'm very newsy. I went on this thing on the internet about a year or two ago. I went on it. Me and my old coworker, we was at work one day, being newsy. And we was being very newsy, and we wanted to see who was the sexual predators in our neighborhood. So I went on this website. I forget which one it was, and I typed in where I lived at, and this, that, and the third. And you type in your area code, and then it'll let you know where they. But then it'll let you go, but so far, because then when you click on to find out more and more stuff, then you gotta sign in and become a member of the different website. But for the most part, it shows you their faces, and it shows you the address, the type of crime that they committed, and what degree it was. Yeah, to let you know where they lived at and whatever the case may be. Well, I don't know what it was, but I signed on and I put my information in there. So now every once in a while, it'll pop up in my email. You have a new sexual predator alert in your neighborhood, or whatever the case may be. Just like you updating you what's going on. These type of people need to have their own community. I'm sorry, they do. Because it's just disgusting. I don't want to live next door to somebody who gets turned on by molesting a child. That is disgusting. That's real. And I know I'm not supposed to judge them because I'm a Christian. I'm not supposed to judge. But I don't want to be near that. You're getting turned on by a child. A child? You got all these grown people out here.
Too many grown people and too many.
It's too many grown people out here for you to get turned on by a child.
Some people I like a young person or a young girl or a young boy. I don't.
That's why you gotta be careful with these older guys who talk I like them young people. Well, how young are you talking? Okay. Because if you're talking under 21, you need to get back. Okay, because that's perverted. That's borderline rape. Sexual statutory rape. It is. I don't hear nobody say it is. No, it is.
Over 18, under 21.
Yeah, but
I don't get young people don't do it for me.
But somebody in their 40s should not be messing around with somebody who's 18, 19.
I'd rather talk to 25 and over.
Yeah, me too. I would rather talk to somebody who's close to my age. Mm-hmm. I don't want to be talking to somebody who's 17, 16. I mean, you may look like you about 21. Some of these kids, some of these kids today look like they. You're like, damn, y'all look like that in high school. I look like a child in high school. Y'all look like somebody's mother father. Because half of them are somebody's mother father. When you stop and think about it.
True. It is true.
It's very true.
Now look, now I know last week, because I don't know how, I forgot to put in my notes, the Mariam, Carey, the girl that got shot, trying to drive through the gate of the White House. I don't remember exactly how it went.
Well, she drove to the White House. I don't know what exactly. I don't think she really did anything. Like, I don't think she ran up against anything. I think she was trying to get... Because if any of you have ever been to the White House, like I have, you know that it's actually virtually impossible for you to get a car down Pennsylvania Avenue because they have barriers blocking you. And these barriers, they only move out of the street when the presidential motorcade is going down or something like a event. They don't, other than that, on a regular day, they have barriers. So there's no way a car can drive down it. And then also, when you go to the White House, you get to walk past the barriers and stand outside the gate, whatever the case may be. But when I tell you, there are, everywhere you look, there's security. There's Secret Service, there's DC police, and then there's people who you know's a cop, but they ain't dressed like a cop. But they sitting there looking real funny because they're plainclothes cop. They're all around. So I guess she probably drove up to the White House and realized she couldn't get through. So then her ass made a U-turn and made it back down to the Capitol. And they said that she was running every light. Every light. Now, this is my thing. Because there was a few people who was confused at why it was that the Capitol Police shot at her. They thought that maybe that was a little bit excessive. Even her two sisters was on CNN and they were saying like they want an investigation because they feel as though, you know, their sister didn't have to die, which is understandable because that's their sister. You know, naturally you feel bad. Regardless of what your relatives did, you feel bad because it's your loved one. But me, in my personal opinion, none of these police officers knew what this lady was doing. None of them knew what her intent was. Somebody said on CNN, they made a very good point. A car can be used as a weapon just like a gun can be used as a weapon. Not only that, who's to say if this woman didn't have a bomb in that car and was waiting to ram it into something and then blow it up? They said that police officers and DC police, Capitol police officers, they're trained. A lot of officers are trained. They're trained that if they can stop somebody from harming people, a large amount of people, that's what they're going to do. And then when you watch this video of this woman speeding down these streets, and then she's speeding down these streets and has a baby in the back seat of the car. And then who even knows if this baby was even strapped in? There may not have even been a car seat in that car. This baby is probably flying all around that car. Clearly there was something wrong with this woman. I don't think that they did anything wrong. I think they had to stop her. They had to do what they had to do. They had to do what they had to do. Because at the end of the day, like I said, nobody knows what this lady's intent was. Nobody knows. And then nobody knows what she had in that car. Nobody knows that. And so you can't say, oh, well, they did too much. No, they didn't. Because if they wouldn't have shot her and she would have blown people up, you know what people have been saying? Why was those cops? Why didn't they stop her? They had... What's the point of our taxpayers paying these cops if they ain't going to do their damn job? And now they're doing their job and do what they're trained to do. People are complaining, well, they did too much. No, they did what they were supposed to do so that other people wouldn't get hurt. And thank God in the process of her speeding from the White House to the Capitol building that her child didn't get hurt and that she didn't hurt somebody else. It's unfortunate that she was killed. It's very unfortunate. Because I would have rather them arrest her and take her to jail and find out what the fuck's going on. But they had to do what they had to do. They really did. Now her family wants to have their own private investigation. They ain't going to go too far with that. They're not. They're not gonna go. It's not going to go far because at the end of the day, they're going to say, look, this woman was a threat.
I really tried thinking, was there any other way to stop her besides shooting her? And I just can't think of how, because how the way she was driving that car, I know she had stopped one way, reversed the car, and run around to another side, and, what are you to do? I'm just glad the baby didn't get hurt.
And it was all happening so fast.
Yeah.
It all happened so fast.
They say in less than 3 minutes.
Mind you, I don't know if you're familiar with D.C. and from the White House to the Capitol, but it does not take you 3 minutes to get from the White House to the Capitol. So this woman was really speeding. It don't take, especially during D.C. traffic.
Yeah, I don't know.
Who told her how to drive? That's what
I don't know how far the White House is.
It's not close at all.
But
when you watch the inauguration, when you watch the inauguration, when the motorcade is driving from the Capitol to the White House. That long ass street that they're driving through, like that's a long ass.
But that was just crazy that went on. I just find it also crazy. You know, I'm hearing about her maybe having postpartum depression or mental health, and she was thinking that President Obama was stalking her. Like I've read all kinds of stuff. I don't think that anybody with mental health issues should be raising children.
No.
I don't get that at all. And this is one of the reasons why this shouldn't be going on. And it reminded me of that crazy lady that decapitated her child in New Jersey. Like, certain people, if you know that they're not in their right state of mind, love your child enough or love your family member enough to want to help them, you know, raise the child, you know, because you know they're not capable of doing that. If they being schizo and seeing shit and with the psychosis and all of that, a child shouldn't be exposed to that.
But you know what? This woman's boyfriend had. They said that the woman's boyfriend. I was watching Good Morning America. He had reported to police before that the woman was a little cuckoo because she was doing some crazy stuff, and the family was aware that she had some problems, and she had been seeking help for these problems. And her sister said that she was even taking medication that the doctors had eventually told her that she no longer had to take medication anymore because she was doing good. So they knew that she had a problem. But my thing is, I think that even if they're doing good, there should be some type of way where family members should step in and just really be smart and say, you know what, let us take care of so-and-so for a while until you are able to get yourself together. Because I think while she was going through this whole, she still had her daughter. Like, and then she drove from Connecticut to D.C. to do all this with her daughter in the car. Now, people like that, they're probably in. She probably was in that car for 2.5 hours talking to herself, going crazy.
That's longer than that, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying 2.5 hours, but it probably is longer. She probably did not. When you stop to think about it, since the woman was, you know, not okay in the head, she probably never even stopped for like the little girl to go to the bathroom or for the little girl to eat. Anytime, because these people are mental. They're mental. So it's like, and then on top of that, for her to say President Obama is stalking her. What?
Looked like she went to him. I guess she was going to try to kill him. But what was she going to do? She didn't have a gun.
No, I don't know. Maybe she wasn't going to try to kill him. Maybe she thought she would be able to go in there and talk to him. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So do you honestly think that this woman wasn't a threat? Like, it's not okay in the head. She's not okay in the head. Just like that guy in that train station, what was it, in San Francisco, when he was running through the train station butt-ass naked. Remember you showed me that?
Yes!
Like, these people aren't okay in their heads.
They're not somebody okay. Gave him something.
Yeah. Well, but somebody may have, and you know what, you may be right. Somebody may have given him something. But at the end of the day, who the hell knows that somebody gave him something? We don't know that. We just know that this guy is running around the train station crazy, and he may not be okay in there.
That's why.
And he's naked. Yes. He was naked.
Can you give me a fucking Molly?
Did you see how he jumped on that thing?
Yes.
To that lady?
He had a nice body too. That's the shame. He did. I didn't see nothing else. But and then how the way he was. What? Don't look at me like that.
You know what? Because I didn't look at. I mean, I did look.
Okay.
For like 2 seconds. But then I turned away because of the fact I thought, like, this guy's crazy. He was just jumping all over the place.
He was fighting people, doing flips. He was very acrobatic.
But no, and when I say butt naked, no socks either. Butt naked. No drawers, no socks, no undershirt, no chains, no nothing. Just naked. Running through a train station.
Grabbing and hugging and fighting people.
People was running and screaming. Because this guy's crazy. You imagine if you walking with your mom through a train station, somebody run up to you butt naked. That's going to be the end of it, right? Because if he grab your mom, you going to fuck him up.
That's right.
And if you got to kill him,
I'm not going to kill him.
Well, let me tell you something. If you on my mom and you hurt my mom...
Because I can see that something ain't right.
No, you can't see that something's not right. All you see is this man is on your mother and he's hurting your mother and I'm going... Hey, that's self-defense. Okay. That's self-defense right then and there. That's your mother. And don't let him grab one of your nieces. Because then he's really dying. Because if he grab any niece or nephew of mine, I'm not going to fucking ask questions of what did you take. I'm going to do whatever it takes to get you off of mine. And then when the cops come, I'm going to say, well, what was the matter with him? Oh, well, okay. I got him off of mine. Next time you won't grab none of mine.
Definitely something to his stuff.
That's what my mom used to say.
I'm putting it down because you don't fall in love.
Somebody text me.
Okay? My mom didn't play that. When it comes to mine, you don't say nothing to mine. That's how my mom used to do those people around that way. I will deal with mine.
Who?
You don't say nothing to mine.
Oh, really?
That's how Miss Marcy was.
Child.
Okay? We don't play those games. And then once we got in the house, then she would cuss us out. But on the street, she would tell them in a minute. You don't say nothing to mine, especially when it's getting out of hand and disrespectful, like they was going to get up on my face. Hold up, who the fuck you face you getting? That's my child.
Okay.
Okay? Because I'm sure Barbara was the same way.
No.
Barbara wouldn't let nobody get in your face.
Yes, she would.
Oh.
Because we got different, remember, we got moms in different eras. My mom from the era where the neighbor will fuck you up, then you go home and get fucked up.
Well, my mom's
because that's when neighbors looked out.
That my mom's, how old you think? My mom's 51. Born in 1962.
About
Okay, well, she ain't that far from my mom.
They're different eras.
That's not too far because they grew up. That's how my mom grew up too.
Your mom was one of the last eras of
the same
the neighbors. It's not
my
the
mom.
same.
No, it is. Your mother is from the ass whooping era. My mother's from the ass whooping era because I got my ass whooped.
No, but see, I never had no neighbor. I never had no neighbor like beat me up, but I did have a neighbor grip me up.
Okay, well you had a neighbor grip you up.
Then waited. Oh, I was like, yeah, wait till my mom. Oh, I had all of
and then your mom fucked
wait till
you
my
up.
mom come home. Wait till my mom come whip my ass. I'll never forget. It was Saturday. And it was raining. Made me come outside and I'm gonna beat the fuck up. She beat me the fuck up. And I had to apologize to him.
Well, see, no, don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. Because I couldn't disrespect any adult. Because that happened to me on my block with a neighbor. I got smart with the neighbor. And I thought my mom was going to be on my side. But then my mom wound up whooping my ass too. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about an adult getting in your face. That's another. That's what I'm talking about. No, the people do that. There's a video on World Star when the lady punched the boy. He went down the street, got his mom, and his mom whooped her ass. First of all, if my son is fighting your son, don't put your hands on my son. As an adult, you're supposed to break it up, but you're not going to hit my son and think that I'm going to say it's okay. No, that's what I'm talking about.
I'm like, you know what? Where you live at?
Yeah, and you know what that lady did?
They don't do that. No,
let me tell you something. You can find that on World Star. That lady walked down the street. Mind you, the neighbors was recording everything. Did you hit my son? Yeah. Well, first of all, the mom denied it at first. She tried to deny it and say no because she was trying to break it up. But you know, the little boy and his friends was like, no, she hit her. That mom went bop and whooped that lady ass right in the street and said, don't you ever hit my son no more. If my son is fighting, you come and get me. You don't put your hands on my son. And that's how my mom was. But we couldn't disrespect nobody, no. But also my mom didn't allow no neighbor to get in my face and say, oh no, we didn't play that. Because my mom was telling him a minute, he came out of me, he didn't come out of you.
No, I've never had none of that crazy action going on. But I have, where the fuck you live at? I know your mother. I'm going to be around it. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't.
Well, I can see them coming for you.
Oh, yeah. I was a rough, you see all these fucking scars? I was a rough kid. I had fun, though.
Oh, no, you ain't see scars until you see me.
I had fun.
Battle scars.
Yeah. Oh, battle scars.
Battle fuck.
Bitch, you got on Mitch Man style.
Bitch, I always have on Mitch Man style. That's how I do it. Let me tell you something. Battle scars out the ass. All over my body I have scars. Because I was a little boy. You know, I'm dainty now. Yes. But when I was younger, I was a boy. Growing up with 8th and Jefferson, with Miss Bill, at her house, 732, 8th and Jefferson. What? That was when North Philly was North fucking Philly. Now, it's horrible. But that was when North Philly was North Philly and kids could go out and play. You know what I mean? Now you got to be careful somebody shooting.
Kids don't know how to play. They want to play on iPads. And
no, they don't know. See, that's what I mean. That was when kids actually played outside. And not only did they play outside, but they played outside and got scarred up. And that just showed that you was outside playing. And my grandmother would tell me in a minute, don't come in here crying. You know, my grandmother would tell me, you come in here crying, you're not going to go back outside.
Well, you got one more time to come back in here.
Right?
One more.
I never forget that day.
In and out.
I never forget that day. This was my first experience with Mischief Night. I was like 7 years old. My first experience. We was down at my grandma's house. My mom was there. It was at night, and I was with my older cousins. I got hit with an egg. I ran in the house crying to my mom and my grandma. I never forget my mom said to me, well, that's how they play. If you don't want to get hit, don't take your ass outside. And she was right. And right then and there, I stopped crying because she was right. That's how you play. And if you don't want to play the game, then don't go the fuck out there. And you're not going to come in here crying to me, telling me that somebody hit you. Because the first thing my mom would say, hit him back. And you better not come in here and tell me that somebody hit you and you didn't hit him back. Because if you don't hit him back, I'm going to hit you.
But I hate that Mischief night stuff. Like,
Oh yeah, I hated that.
all
too.
that egg throwing, like, you're wasting so much. You don't think about it now.
No, you don't.
But when you want to go in that refrigerator, bitch, and make some eggs, and you don't see
You
no
don't think
eggs
about
in
that
there.
when you're young. But you know what the best thing about Mischief Night back when we were younger is that Mischief Night was fun. Like, you would throw eggs at each other, this, that, and the third. Now people is just throwing eggs at people randomly and they
throw
walk
them
on
at
the
the
street.
bus.
They throw them at the bus. Why would you throw an egg at somebody walking down the street and they don't even know you? Don't do that. Don't do that.
do that.
Don't do that. I remember years ago when our friends, we would throw eggs at each other. Because, you know, you can't throw eggs randomly. Remember recently, like a year or two ago, somebody threw an egg at this guy and he came out with his gun.
Yeah, I heard about
Remember that?
Yes, I can't remember how it went down, but
yeah,
I
but
remember.
they either threw it at him or at his car. And he came out with a shotgun. And dude, don't you know he started shooting? don't throw no egg at my shit.
Like, it's not. It's Mischief Night is not as popular no more because, you know, these girls got hungry over the time.
And
They not throwing this egg no more. No shit. Okay.
That's when girls, when people used to take the eggs and freeze them and then throw them.
Yes. Bitch, you want to talk about knocking somebody out? You want to go fucking freezing eggs, bitch. You real fucking fancy.
Get it! I took it back.
I'm glad I never got hit with a frozen egg.
Me neither. But didn't I take it back?
Yes, you did.
That's what the see kids nowadays don't know about that. You take a frozen egg, you sit a dozen of eggs in the freezer. That's how we used to play. You take a dozen of eggs, sit them in the freezer. my mom. Then you have to hide the eggs. Don't let your mom know you take the eggs. Or sometimes you get $1 and go get a. Mind you, eggs probably not even $1 no more.
I can get eggs next door for $2.
No, but a dozen they used to be $1.
Sometimes, depending on where you go, you can get it for $1.50.
Bitch, you know I had a dream. You knew this was a dream. The other night I had a dream that gas went down to 197. That's all I saw.
You never know.
Was
It might-
Sunoco 197. I said, bitch, this. And mind you, it was so real. I woke up and said, nah.
I remember when it used to be 103 and stuff like that, but
I found a picture. Did I show you a picture from my mom and Winton? That was the only thing I noticed in that picture in the background. That gas said 140 something for regular, and this was in 1994. I said, can you imagine 140 something? I said, damn, why couldn't I have had a car in 1994? Now gas is 370 something. Well, no, gas is going down because now the cheapest I saw was 323, and that was in Jersey. Yeah, that was the cheapest I saw. And then over here, the gas station around my house is 344.
44, yeah.
Just a few weeks ago, it was 370 something. So it's gradually going down. But it's like, that's 94. That's not even 20 years ago. That's 19 years ago. When it was just 1 something.
I remember when gas prices first went up. Everybody was losing their mind.
People was losing
How
their mind when they
my
thought 1 something was
bills.
high.
It's not in my budget.
It's not in my budget to pay $2 a gallon. Bitch, I wish I could pay $2 a gallon now, okay? What?
Shout out to the gas driver. Shout out to the drivers out there. This is why I don't need no car. I mean, I do need to learn, but let me tell you, Dennis always got something going on with his car.
Yeah.
He had to pay X amount. I be like,
And then he's got 2 cars.
Yeah,
I don't know how he do it with that truck, but God bless him. Because in a truck, I know gas is high, but the truck just trying to fill it up.
I ain't gonna put his business out there, but I told him, you shouldn't have bought that truck, because that's the first thing I thought about was gas.
Yeah. And gas ain't cheap nowadays. But I guess, hey, if your pockets is able to do it, then go ahead and do it. But my pockets is not able for me to buy a truck and put gas in. I can't do it because I'm just like,
But he always liked the truck thing, but I'm like, you don't need to for all that gas. First of all, it's you. What the fuck you need this big ass truck?
well, I like trucks too because that's what I learned how to drive in. I didn't learn how to drive in a car. I learned how to drive in my dad's white Ford Expedition. 2000, this was in 2004, early 2005, because I got my driver's license in March of 2005. But at that time, my dad had a big white Ford Expedition. Can you just imagine me learning how to drive a big-ass Expedition? Not an Explorer, Expedition. But that's what my dad, he just was like, well, if you're going to learn how to drive, you're going to learn how to drive the big thing. You're going to start off big, because
So the little one was easy. A regular car was easy.
when I started driving, when I learned how to drive, after I got my license and everything, my dad would always let me drive his truck. One day, the very first time I drove my mom's car, I felt so weird because I was so used to driving a big-ass truck that when you switch from a truck to a tiny car, you're like, yo, this is not cool because It just seems when you and then when you're driving a truck, it's much different than a car because you got to know how to turn, make wide turns. You got to do all the type of stuff. Like I love driving my dad's truck that I drove here for the cookout because it's big and it's me and I just look grand in it.
But not no everyday thing.
No, I drove my dad's truck. Remind you, I learned how to drive in 2005, and from 2005 to 2011, because that's when I got my car. That's all I drove was his truck. So driving a truck is nothing to me. Like somebody said at the cookout, "Were you driving that big ass truck?" Yes, that's what I learned to drive it. Oh, y'all think on YouTube that I don't know how to drive big things? What? Ooh. Don't get the truck. I said drive, not ride.
Right.
I said drive. I leave that to you, the riding part. Because you're a good rider. You're a passenger seat. When you're in the passenger seat, you ride, right? Passengers don't drive, they ride. I'm just saying.
No comment. Speaking of driving,
I sat in the backseat of my car the other day and I felt so weird. I said,
who's driving? What you was on the backseat?
What? I didn't say. Don't. You didn't even let me get the rest of my. I was getting ready to say I let my friend drive, and I let my other friend sit up in the front, and then I sit in the back by myself. But it felt weird because I'm like, yo, I'm not used to a backseat.
Where y'all go?
Huh?
Where y'all go?
Oh, we were dropping everybody off.
Oh, and you just decided driving?
Cause let me tell you something. When you drive all day, every day, you get tired of driving. But you don't know anything about that because you don't drive.
I don't have an interest. When I feel, that's kind of different. When I feel the need that I have to drive, I will drive.
You're gonna never feel that need because I remember you told us at Tamar's house you're gonna learn, and you never learned. That's all right. When you're fancy, so you'll be able to afford a chauffeur.
One day.
I can see you now.
People been driving me around forever. I swear, I used to say, people want to drive me around. People want to drive me around. 28 and still getting drove around. Either by SEPTA or by friends.
Well, I wouldn't really brag about that, but
I don't need a car.
I'm not saying that needing a car, but I mean, it would be nice to know how to drive.
It will be. Yeah. And when I'm ready, I'll be ready.
I'm
not scared no more.
Thank God.
I'm just not ready.
Well, whenever you want me to teach you, I'll teach you.
Okay. That'll be.
But you gotta be ready.
That would be a fun.
You have to be ready.
I'm not ready to drive, but I'm not scared.
Okay, but you
once
have to
I
be
had
ready.
that thing with the young look, that was it. That fear went away.
Yeah, because Yana couldn't believe it. She said, "What? You don't know how to drive?"
She was like, "Bitch, come here."
You like this? Yeah. I
was like, y'all like put some magic on me because it really.
Because they doing? Over there making fire?
I promise, I'm really not scared no more. I'm just not ready.
Shout out to Iyanla. I can't wait to have part 2 with her.
And I didn't even know her birthday, but it's late. But happy belated birthday!
When was her birthday?
September 13th.
Oh, bitch.
That's late. Great. Okay, but shit, it's still belated. So it's still within a month. So yes, shout out to Iyanla. And her new season comes back November the 2nd with Terrell Owens.
You know who she needs to have on there? You made a good point. She needs to have Nene and them on there.
Yeah. Nene's family, what? Like, that will be good because I don't think she's ever had, like, a split family where someone feels like they took my mom away or you took my dad away. She didn't do that. She did bring a husband and a new man in the house, but not like that.
Well, wasn't that so good when...
Which one?
The one that I was shouting on?
Oh, yeah. It was sting from the fish to the head. She was like...
They tried to make it seem like it was her fault, but then in reality, it's all y'all. Y'all in her house. How the fuck y'all gonna try to... You know what I mean? That's like me coming over here and telling them how... Wait a minute, I did.
Make sure that you guys watch Preachers of LA. I watched the demo, the whole episode on demand last night. I like it. I thought it was going to be like a real ratchet show and look at my jewelry. They do go, I got cars and all of this, but they didn't really make it about that, you know, and I got to know the pastors, how they deal with their wives. Well, I'm like, look, me and my wife, we very affectionate, and a lot of people not here for that, but I'm here for it. Right. Then you got the Bishop McClendon, who's, you know, he set his ways. He got to have an entourage. He got a beautiful family and everything.
And he's a nice looking guy.
Yeah, very nice.
Because he's a McClendon.
Very nice looking. And what? Okay, but I like the old head pastor that's married.
The thick mustache?
Yeah, I like him. He's cool. No, I ain't trying to have with the pastor.
Just the bishop.
I like him. He was in I think he was in the Bloods and stuff. Like he was in different gangs. So he's trying to go around saving people, and he got a nice congregation, everything. His wife is a sweetheart. I like her. And then you got Dietrich Haddon. I never knew he was a pastor or a bishop or any of that. I didn't know he preached. I just thought that he sang, and I always thought he was gay. So yeah, I said I'm finally saying it. Yes, I always thought he was gay. But a lot of those, I don't know what it is that it's a lot of guys that I see that come from the church or that sing for the Lord, and their style is just like, you don't have to be dressing like you're a hood. But when I think of somebody that's for the Lord, I think that they're fully dressed up when they sing and not trying to be hip or wearing skin tight jeans and hair all. It's just different.
Are you referring to Dietrich Haddon?
Who?
That's who you're referring to, right?
Yeah, about how he dresses, but it's more than just him. It's a lot of the gospel queens out there that portray to be straight, and they really not. See,
I didn't say it. He said it. I didn't say it.
Have said that.
I did not say it.
But it's the truth.
I don't.
Tell me you don't see them damn choir directors in there, but they ladies.
But we don't have a choir director in my church. We don't have a choir director.
I know. That's because the pastor sister got everything going down. Gracious. She's up there leading, thinking she Kirk Franklin. I was like, okay, all right, yes. I need to make an appearance back at this church.
She said, gracious. And she got real loud. She came out of gracious. Then she said, no. Connie, you better die.
Okay. Yeah.
She said, you will not make a fool of me in my face. Gracious is the Lord.
So when y'all watch it and when Mikkel watches the full episode, we'll be back to discuss it.
But there was a question. There was a good question.
Yeah, there was a good question. Should pastors be paid to preach at your church? Like, Dietrich Haddon was saying, him
and Bishop McClendon was having a disagreement.
Like they was on the Scorpion Show. Like they was really going back and forth about, oh my God, how can I say it? I can't say it the way they were talking. But basically, he was saying, you're the one that's anointing. Dietrich was telling him, you're the one with the anointing. Your entourage is not with the anointing, so they don't need to get paid. You shouldn't have to be getting paid to preach the word of the Lord if they can't afford you to come to their church. Yes, it's good to get a nice offering, but if you're speaking the words of God, you should be doing it for free. Now, I don't know. I know how I feel about this because you might be preaching the word, but you gotta pay for me to get there. Because I'm not just gonna keep coming out of pocket to go to all of these different places. Somebody gotta take care of me somewhere. Now either you're gonna pay for me to pay for my flight, you're gonna pay for my food, you're gonna pay for my hotel, and you're gonna pay me to come to your church because I'm bringing new people to your church that you can't bring with your preaching of the word. But go ahead.
Can I just stop you, or no? Do you want to keep saying stuff?
But I do want to say something because singers, there are gospel singers that get paid to sing for the Lord, and they're not going to come to your church or come to your concert and sing about the Lord and not get paid. You have to be paid for your services. Yes, you have a gift. Your gift is to share with the world, but sometimes that money has to come to you too. You just can't be doing everything for free.
Okay, now I agree, and then I disagree. I agree that, people need to be compensated for their services, yes. I always felt as though that's what the offering was for. You're getting compensated for your preaching because people have taken an offering. The offering is you can either put what you want to put in there and keep the basket moving, or you can keep the basket moving. That's what that offering is for the pastors. I do not believe that a pastor's entourage needs to get paid. What do you need to get paid for? What do you need to get paid for? You're not doing anything. I don't necessarily agree with you that, because I'm coming to preach at your church, that I'm bringing more people into your church. Because technically, no, I'm just bringing people there to hear me preach. Because once I leave, these people ain't here to hear you preach, they're here to hear me preach. So then who's to say that they're going to stay at your church? Right or wrong?
You true.
They not there to see, because they're only there to see. Like, for instance, if Leandria Johnson was to come to my church and perform, and I posted on Instagram or Twitter that she was coming, naturally a lot of people will come. But then guarantee by next Sunday, those same people who was there last Sunday ain't going to be there. Because they was there to see Leandria, just like on Easter. We had the problem with Easter. Churches are full every Easter. But come next Sunday,
Nobody's in there.
Nobody in there. So, that's why I said I agree with you and then I don't agree with you. Because, I mean, you know, it's... But I just felt as though Bishop McClendon was like... I just didn't understand where he was coming from. Why he felt... First of all, I don't even know why he thinks he needs an entourage. Yeah. But even still, why do you think that everybody in your entourage needs to get paid for you preaching? I don't understand that. And then not only that, I just think that sometimes... Some pastors, a lot of pastors feel how Deidre Hatton feels. Because not every church can afford...
Somebody's gonna get fucked up.
That's Madison. Madison! Thank you. Not every church can afford to have somebody come to them and preach. You know what I mean? And it's unfortunate because, like, for instance, my church, we ain't got no damn money. You know? And if we wanted somebody like Bishop McClendon, who may be a great preacher, I don't know, I've never heard him speak before, but he may be a good preacher. If we wanted somebody like him to come and preach on a Sunday, it would be very unfortunate that he would turn us down and say, well, if y'all ain't got no money for me, then I can't come. Because then it's like, is that, because then you stop and say to yourself, well, damn, is that really what it's about?
Yeah.
Money?
Yeah, for a lot of them, yeah.
Yeah.
For a lot of them, yeah.
But then that goes back to the point that Deidre Hatton was making, which was, Jesus did it from his heart, and he didn't do it to get paid from it. He did it to preach the gospel. Now, he may have gotten paid from it for different things, but that's not the initial point or the reason why Jesus was preaching his gospel. Not to say, oh, when I'm done, give me money. You know what I'm saying? And that was the point that Deidre Hatton was making. Like, you don't necessarily have to always get paid for what it is that you're preaching, especially when you're preaching the gospel, and especially when you want people to come to your church and hear the word of God. Because a lot of times, I notice from my church, what my pastor does sometimes, and what other pastors do too. Like, for instance, if my pastor is visiting a church for like their anniversary and he's like the guest preacher, and then when the offering is taken up, a lot of times my pastor won't even take the offering for himself. He'll just give it to the pastor of the church whose church it is. But he doesn't just do that. A lot of churches do that too, because I know when we had our church anniversaries, or even when my pastor had his anniversary, when we did an offering, we had two different pastors come, and both of those pastors gave their offering to my pastor. That's what pastors do. But I mean, it's unfortunate because Bishop McClendon would be turning down a lot of people who would want to hear him. And then on top of that, you also got to remember, too, that I also have to remind myself that Bishop McClendon and the rest of them are pastors to congregations of like 3,000 people. You know what I mean? So they are used to seeing that dollar signs, whereas though somebody like my church that we can't even, you know what I mean? It's like...
So do you think that they should be living in these big houses?
Well, we had a conversation about this before. I mean... I know in our past video I had said something to the effect of I didn't think that they should be driving around in these different fancy cars because you have people in their congregation who was not well off like them. And I felt as though it was kind of a slap to the face to those who weren't well off to them. But then I also had to remind myself that preachers, because a lot of them, it's their job. There's some pastors who don't have 9 to 5s. And preaching is their job, and it's their living. So therefore, when they give the offering up to a pastor, that is now their money. And so if they choose to buy a Ford Coupe or a Ford Fusion or a Bentley, that is their money. So if they choose to do that with their money, then go ahead and do it.
But how do they decide on where the money goes and how they get paid? That's what I want. I've never known how pastors do it. How much goes to the church? How much goes to the bill?
Well, that's why you have different ministries. Like, for instance, at my church, we have different fund. Like, we have a building fund, which usually for the building fund, the minimum is $5. And then after that, you can give how much you want to give. But the minimum, they ask you to give $5. We have a building fund, and then we have We have tithes and offering. We have different like different things. We also have a pastor's care box where a lot of times my pastor, he'll go on the road and preach at different churches. And so the pastor's care box, you know, you don't have to put money in there. That's your choice. You put $1, how much you want to put in there. And what that money is, the pastor will use that money if he has to go on different trips to go preach somewhere, or if he has to fly somewhere, he'll use that money for like gas or for tickets or things like that, or just for his personal use, because that's his money that we're giving to him. And that's what the offering is too for the pastor. Like, you give that to him when the pastor is, when they preach and preach a good word, you give up an offering for that. I mean, I think Bishop McClendon, he had a point in what he was saying, but I think the way he executed it was a really, like, snobby. You know what I mean? Like, he sat there and was just like, well, I can't go nowhere unless I get paid, and my entourage has to get paid too.
Then he kicked that leg
And then he kicked that leg up and went across. And you know, Deidre Haddon, the one who people think is the queen, he was just like, yo, like, what? This ain't... Basically in a nutshell, what Deidre Haddon was saying was, yo, this ain't the real reason why we do this. We do this to preach the word because we are God's shepherds. We're shepherds leading flocks. And how does that look for us to be going around saying, oh, I can't do this unless I get paid, or unless my entourage get paid? Why do you even have an entourage? And what do you have an entourage for?
I don't know.
I can't wait to see this show because it looks very interesting.
It's good. I can't wait for next week. Yes. So, it seems like we've been recording for 2 hours. Because I turned the TV off when people's cook. This is a long video.
It is
and I'm hungry. So, look, we got to go. Thank you guys for watching.
Maybe... Okay, yeah, go ahead.
No, you was about to say.
No, I'll say it off again.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so thank you guys for watching. And we'll be back with the new video. So, talk to y'all later. Peace.
Maybe you should make this part.